Annyeonghaseyo and hello to all of you. In today's video, I wanted to show you how to make my updated version of boiled pork with mustard green soup. In the Hmong Leeg dialect, we like to call this soup Gambo Hao Ju Zhangzhou. Gambo refers to as pork, Hao means to boil, and Zhangzhou refers to as mustard greens or any greens in general. This dish is a very traditional, classic, and super comforting soup that you would typically find be eaten a lot in the Hmong culture. You'll find it being eaten during breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It's usually made for special occasions sometimes, like weddings, funerals, New Year's, or any party in general. It's super easy to make. It doesn't take a lot of ingredients, but it is comforting, super delicious, especially with some fresh steamed rice and your favorite side of hot chili pepper dip. So with that, let's go ahead and start cooking. So let's talk a little bit more about the pork that I'm going to be using for this soup. This soup traditionally is made with freshly butchered pig, which creates a really nice and flavorful broth when you're making this versus store-bought pork that you typically find at your local grocery store. So if you can, find some really good quality pork so that you have some really good broth. You could definitely use any part of the pork that you like. You could just do all bones or just all meat. I do like to have a combination of different parts of the pork. So here I have some skin on pork belly. I have some skin on either pork shoulder, or you can also use pork butt. It's really up to you. And then I also have some bone-in pork spare ribs for extra flavor and texture. So this is totally optional, but I do like to season the pork before I boil it. So I'm going to put the pork into a bowl and season this with some salt. Mix it really well, and I do like to cover it and let this marinate overnight in the fridge. Or if you don't want to wait, you could just marinate it for about 30 minutes to 1 hour at room temperature before you boil it. Once the pork is marinated, we're going to place all of it into a pot. And I'm going to add in some water and then turn on the heat and let this simmer for about 30 to 35 minutes. As you simmer it, you can go ahead and skim out any scum here that you don't want, just so that you have a really nice, clear broth to enjoy. Now, depending on the part of the pork that you're using, the cooking time might vary. I did end up cooking mine for roughly around 35 minutes to 40 minutes, just until the pork is tender to my liking. So once the pork is cooked to my liking, I'm going to add in some freshly sliced ginger with the skin on and everything. And adding ginger will help just eliminate that really porky smell in the broth. And then we're going to season the broth with a little bit more salt and chicken bouillon powder. Give this a really good stir, and then we're going to add in the mustard greens. So I'm using just mustard greens that I bought from my local Asian grocery store. There are different varieties and types, so just pick and choose which one you like. And I rinsed them really good, and I do like to cut them into smaller sizes like this. And then we're going to place all of them right into the broth here. And then we're just going to continue cooking this until the mustard greens are just tender. Try not to overcook it, or else the greens will become mush. So for me, I like to cook this for roughly maybe about 4 to 5 minutes. I usually test the stem to see if it's done to my likeness, and then I'll turn off the heat. And that's pretty much it. The soup is done. You could definitely taste this and adjust the seasonings. You could add more salt if you need to. Other than that, we are ready to serve. And to go with the soup, I like to eat this with some fresh steamed rice and then some pepper dip on the side as well. This pepper dip goes amazing with the pork. So for this, all I did was take chili peppers, put it in my mortar and pestle, along with some salt and mushroom seasoning or MSG, 3 whole garlic cloves, and then we're going to pound this until everything is mashed up. Place the pounded peppers and garlic into a bowl. And then we're going to add in some lime juice, fish sauce, and a little bit of chopped green onions and cilantro. Give this a really good mix, and the pepper dip is done. It should look something like this. The full written recipe is on my website. I'll put the link down below in the description box so that you can give it a go. So enjoy this soup while it's still hot. It is amazing with this chili pepper dip and a side of fresh steamed rice. The perfect soup to have on a cold day. So I hope you can give this a try. Until then, I will see you in my next video.